Jeff City. If you can't make it to one of our locations, we also are the only clinic in the state to offer in-home visits. No-Grow Solutions. Consult, learn, and grow.
Big V here, KC Grow Coach, and there's so many exciting things happening here in Missouri since we've been given the okay to use medical cannabis. We can buy, use, consume, and we can grow our own, or we can have a caregiver grow it for us. And that's where I come in with the KC Grow Coach. I teach people who have absolutely no idea what they're in for, how to grow their own cannabis in their home. So I'm gonna be here on September 17th, right here at Happy Rock Farms doing the Evolution Home Grow Series. I'm gonna introduce KC Grow Coach to you, and I'm also gonna be talking about my way of gardening, my preferred method, which is 100% organics. And I'm gonna cover all facets of organics, from using bottle nutrients to making your own soil, because that's kind of something that I'm into. And we'll discuss farming cannabis.
Tonight's episode is streaming live from Happy Rock Farms, conveniently located in the heart of Midtown, Kansas City, Missouri. Happy Rock Farms strives every day to provide the very best equipment, tools, supplies, and expertise to growers at all experience levels. Owned and operated by growers for growers, more than just another retail store, a space for research, learning, and community building. With a price match guarantee, you can rest assured that you'll always get the best products for the best price in town. Open daily from 10 to 7, Sundays noon to 4. Happy Rock Farms, fine gardening and hydroponic solutions. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com. The world is like a ride in an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it is very brightly colored. It is very loud, and it's fun. For a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us. They say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. Please take a moment to acknowledge our network affiliates and streaming affiliates across the state of Missouri. The Home Grow Series is made possible by the cooperation of many groups coming together to provide an educational platform for the community. We'd like to thank all our affiliates and sponsors, and will feature different groups each week. Now stay tuned for the Home Grow Series, starting at 7 p.m., just moments ahead. Welcome to the Home Grow Series, presented by the Evolution Magazine. It is September 17th, 2020, and we are back at Happy Rock Farms tonight with Vernon McClanahan, the KC Grow Coach. And tonight's talking about organic gardening. Special guests throughout the show, including the Happy Rock team for the CannaFest Bowl. We have updates from the Canna Convict Project, and there will be a tea brewing demonstration after the break. Show begins at 7, and now a word from our sponsors.
Hello, Missouri. 816-237-8583, Progressive Osteopathic Therapies. I am Dr. James McIntyre, Doc Mack of thegreenpotclinic.com. I would like to provide you with the solution to your medical marijuana clinic needs. Doc Mack has got your back. I provide VIP clinic services. Your dollars stay in Missouri. I operate an actual clinic, not a marketing company or a scam for fraudulent certifications. I fix fraud. I educate patients. I am available after the payment, not just before. When you decide you need to get certified or when you need recertified, come experience the Doc Mack difference. 816-237-8583.
MoGrow Solutions is Kansas City's premier cannabis consulting company, offering doctor recommendations, state application upload assistance, state-approved medical transport boxes, infused KC's locally sourced CBD honey and dog treats, and much more. Come see us at our 2 new Missouri locations, one in Kearney at 408B West 6th Street, and one at 1418 Missouri Boulevard, Suite E in Jeff City. If you can't make it to one of our locations, we also are the only clinic in the state to offer in-home visits. MoGrow Solutions, consult, learn, and grow.
Big V here, KC Grow Coach, and there's so many exciting things happening here in Missouri since we've been given the okay to use medical cannabis. We can buy, use, consume, and we can grow our own, or we can have a caregiver grow it for us. And that's where I come in with the KC Grow Coach. I teach people who have absolutely no idea what they're in for, how to grow their own cannabis in their home. So I'm gonna be here on September 17th, right here at Happy Rock Farms doing the Evolution Home Grow Series. I'm gonna introduce KC Grow Coach to you, and I'm also gonna be talking about my way of gardening, my preferred method, which is 100% organics. And I'm gonna cover all facets of organics, from using bottle nutrients to making your own soil, because that's kind of something that I'm into. And we'll discuss farming cannabis.
Tonight's episode is streaming live from Happy Rock Farms, conveniently located in the heart of Midtown, Kansas City, Missouri. Happy Rock Farms strives every day to provide the very best equipment, tools, supplies, and expertise to growers at all experience levels. Owned and operated by growers for growers, more than just another retail store, a space for research, learning, and community building. With a price match guarantee, you can rest assured that you'll always get the best products for the best price in town. Open daily from 10 to 7, Sundays noon to 4. Happy Rock Farms, fine gardening and hydroponic solutions. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com. The world is like a ride in an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it is very brightly colored. It is very loud, and it's fun. For a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us. They say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. Please take a moment to acknowledge our network affiliates and streaming affiliates across the state of Missouri. The Home Grow Series is made possible by the cooperation of many groups coming together to provide an educational platform for the community. We'd like to thank all our affiliates and sponsors, and will feature different groups each week. Now stay tuned for the Home Grow Series, starting at 7 p.m., just moments ahead. Welcome to the Home Grow series, presented by the Evolution magazine. It is September 17th, 2020, and we are back at Happy Rock Farms tonight with Vernon McClanahan, the KC Grow Coach. And tonight's talking about organic gardening. Special guests throughout the show, including the Happy Rock team for the CannaFest Bowl. We have updates from the Canna Convict Project, and there will be a tea brewing demonstration after the break. Show begins at 7, and now a word from our sponsors.
Hello, Missouri. 816-237-8583, Progressive Osteopathic Therapies. I am Dr. James McIntyre, Doc Mac of thegreenpotclinic.com. I would like to provide you with the solution to your medical marijuana clinic needs. Doc Mac has got your back. I provide VIP clinic services. Your dollars stay in Missouri. I operate an actual clinic, not a marketing company or a scam for fraudulent certifications. I fix fraud. I educate patients. I am available after the payment, not just before. When you decide you need to get certified or when you need recertified, come experience the Doc Mac difference. 816-237-8583.
MoGrow Solutions is Kansas City's premier cannabis consulting company, offering doctor recommendations, state application upload assistance, state-approved medical transport boxes, infused KC's locally sourced CBD honey and dog treats, and much more. Come see us at our 2 new Missouri locations, one in Kearney at 408B West 6th Street, and one at 1418 Missouri Boulevard, Suite E in Jeff City. If you can't make it to one of our locations, we also are the only clinic in the state to offer in-home visits. MoGrow Solutions, consult, learn, and grow.
Big V here, KC Grow Coach, and there's so many exciting things happening here in Missouri since we've been given the okay to use medical cannabis. We can buy, use, consume, and we can grow our own, or we can have a caregiver grow it for us. And that's where I come in with the KC Grow Coach. I teach people who have absolutely no idea what they're in for, how to grow their own cannabis in their home. So I'm gonna be here on September 17th, right here at Happy Rock Farms doing the Evolution Home Grow series. I'm gonna introduce KC Grow Coach to you, and I'm also gonna be talking about my way of gardening, my preferred method, which is 100% organics. And I'm gonna cover all facets of organics, from using bottle nutrients to making your own soil, because that's kind of something that I'm into. And we'll discuss farming cannabis.
Tonight's episode is streaming live from Happy Rock Farms, conveniently located in the heart of Midtown, Kansas City, Missouri. Happy Rock Farms strives every day to provide the very best equipment, tools, supplies, and expertise to growers at all experience levels. Owned and operated by growers for growers, more than just another retail store, a space for research, learning, and community building. With a price match guarantee, you can rest assured that you'll always get the best products for the best price in town. Open daily from 10 to 7, Sundays noon to 4. Happy Rock Farms, fine gardening and hydroponic solutions. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com. The world is like a ride in an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it is very brightly colored. It is very loud, and it's fun. For a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us. They say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. Please take a moment to acknowledge our network affiliates and streaming affiliates across the state of Missouri. The Home Grow series is made possible by the cooperation of many groups coming together to provide an educational platform for the community. We'd like to thank all our affiliates and sponsors, and will feature different groups each week. Now stay tuned for the Home Grow series, starting at 7 p.m., just moments ahead.
Hello, Missouri cannabis friends and family. Welcome to Home Grow series number 23. We're shooting here live from Happy Rock Farms. We have a wonderful audience here tonight of some of Missouri's best growers.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's all right. Time out. This is a live feed, so sometimes we have a few difficulties. After 23 shows, we're kind of used to this. So we've got James behind the ones and twos. Figuring that part out, and as soon as he gives me the heads up, all right, here we go. So like I said, we're here at Happy Rock Farms shooting live on Main Street in Kansas City, and tonight we have the largest studio audience here that we've ever had before. Can I get a little applause from the audience out there? So this audience here is some of Missouri's best growers, and they represent the 10 team members for the CannaFest Bowl. And here later in the show, we're going to introduce all of them so you can see who is representing the Kansas City side in that national competition that includes not only Missouri, but Oklahoma, California, and Colorado. The signups have been completed, so right now they've all got their seeds. They're all showing pictures of their seeds popping, and we've got some amazing photos. I'm sure some of them will show you some of that when they introduce themselves. Tonight we got our host is Big V, also AKA Casey Grow Coach, and then he's being joined by Russell Bachknight. I said it right. Russell Bachknight, who's a veteran cultivator and caregiver, and Big V got him set up, and so we're going to kind of talk about how that relationship works with your patient caregiver, and then talk more about organic gardening, and then we'll have a live tea brewing demonstration here tonight as well. Of course, we're going to check in with the Canna Convict project on the break here shortly. Big thanks to our other sponsors besides the CannaFest Bowl and Humboldt Green and Big V with the KC Grow Coach. Also want to say thanks to Mo Grow Solutions and then also Doc Mack. Both those guys can help you get you certified. Mo Grow Solutions will take care of all the paperwork for you. He also does production work, so if you need any production work, they can do all that as well. And then Doc Mack is one of the few doctors in Missouri that's a registered pediatrician who does patients for minors. And later next month, October 1st show, MCIA is going to do a special on certification for minors, and we're going to bring Heidi Rael in and Leah Carr from Harium Hemp. So we got some great shows lined up for you. We got some great giveaways tonight, but before I get into the giveaways, I want to introduce the winner of last week's giveaway. We have yet to bring in somebody, one of the winners on the show, but we wanted to show you guys that we actually do follow up with our prizes. And this is James Hilbig. Yep. So James Hilbig here, he's going to say a few words. He's does coaching over on the St. Louis side. So let's hear a few words here from James.
Hey, Canna fam. My name's James, and first of all, I just want to thank everybody in the world. Things are hard right now, and we're all trying to be the best we can be. We're all in this together, and we just got to take care of each other. Second of all, I want to thank Happy Rock Farms, the Evolution Magazine, Big V, the KC Grow Coach, Bo Knows, Ganja Grows out of STL, Grow Active Solutions. And I also want to thank Steve Geeter. He does the podcast every Friday, Into the Cannabis, and he also is, as far as I know, the leader of the CannaFest, putting on the CannaFest Bowl Nationals that he just mentioned. So big thanks for him. He kind of got me my first job at a hydroponic store almost 20 years ago. Second of all, I really want to say thank you for the time to be here. And I have one more little thing I want to say. All right, so this is kind of my philosophy behind Gardens Alive 365, which is my consulting thing that I'm getting started out in STL, and I'm planning on working with Big V as much as I can. So anybody that don't feel like that you can't get his assistance just because you're on the east side of the state like I am. But here's my philosophy. Gardening is a great therapy. I like to promote what I call plant therapy to anyone because of the numerous benefits of gardening. I support the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which, by the way, September is Suicide Awareness Month, and this is the hat. But so yeah, look them up, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. But I greatly encourage our returning veterans or anyone suffering from depression, anxiety, addiction, or any other mental, emotional, or spiritual struggles to sow the seeds and reap the rewards of improved well-being and quality of life that come along the garden path. There is even a professional modality called horticultural therapy, in which a trained therapist uses gardening and plant-based activities to reach a specific therapeutic treatment goal. Gardening improves physical health by getting us outside in the fresh air and sunshine, while we are moving around, reaching, bending, pulling, planting, harvesting, and so on. It helps strengthen muscles, improve coordination, balance, and endurance. It's like an organic form of physical therapy. But the therapeutic benefits extend far beyond the physical plane. In addition to mental health boosts, horticultural therapy can help improve mental functions such as memory, cognitive abilities, task initiation, language skills, and socialization. Scientists have even discovered a microbacterium, Vaccaea, I may have pronounced that wrong, which is found in soil, and it increases the serotonin produced by the brain. Plus, gardening doesn't just make you feel better, it keeps you feeling well by boosting the immune system. So thanks again to everyone. I'm James Hilbig with Gardens Alive 365, and those are some of the great reasons to get into growing, even if you're not a patient or user, because we're all in this together. Thanks again.
Y'all give it up for James right there. We love having great information like that. That's what this whole show is about, is to encourage people to get out there to grow their own medicine, not only to grow their own medicine, but to get past the fear of trying it for the first time. I mean, everybody has that initial fear of, I've never done it before, and look at these guys posting these amazing pictures of these flowers. I can't do that. Well, you can. And that's why we do this show here tonight, and that's why guys like Big V and James teach and consult, and that's why the Evolution Magazine, that's why we're doing all this right here. So tonight's giveaways, by the way, James was the winner of last week's giveaway. All you have to do is tag a friend. You can tag as many friends as you would like. We're going to be giving away a free medical marijuana certification from Green Pot Clinics, one of our sponsors. We're also going to be giving away from the Casey Grow Coach 6 5-gallon fabric pots, 3 bags of the Dank Living Soil, which is made by Big V here at Happy Rock Farms, and a bag of the Dank Dust for the topical nutrient dressing. So if you want to win any of those prizes, just tag a friend. You'll get entered to win, and we'll draw those here in about a week before next week's show. I think by the way, questions, please. This is an interactive show. We have a monitor here that we type the questions on for Big V. Please ask questions, comment, tell us where you're from. This is an interactive show. That's why we do it live, and that's why live is so difficult to do, but it's worth it because we want to have that interaction with our audience. So let's go ahead and how about a big round of applause for Big V? Let's hand it over.
Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good evening, chilled. I'm Big V, Casey Grow Coach, introducing Russell Book Knight.
Right.
I said it right. So, but Russell's a veteran, retired Navy veteran. He's a Grow Coach client and has gone on to be a caregiver. And I want him to talk about his experience with starting to cultivate cannabis now that it's medically legal. We got a lot of exciting stuff happening in Missouri here, since they've given us the freedom to buy, possess, use, and grow our own cannabis. And we can cultivate up to 18 plants, 6 flowering, 6 veg, and 6 in cutting or seedling stage. And we can also be a caregiver where we can cultivate the same amount of plants for up to 3 patients. And so what I'm finding is that a lot of people, the dispensaries aren't open right now, so there's a lot of people that are having issues getting their meds, and they're turning to grow their own, or they're turning to caregivers. What I'd like to do is I'd like to get everybody into a caregiver, or get everybody growing their own that, is has the inclination to grow their own. So that's kind of what I'm doing with the KC Grow Coach. You know, I come by and assess your situation. We'll figure out what you need, what your experience is, if you have any, get you set up in the equipment you need, help you find the right place that you can get some genetics from, and you know, basically determine what growing method meets your particular situation. Do you want to do hydro? Do you want to do soil, hempy buckets, whatever you decide it works easy for you. So, you know, we just want to figure out what's going to work for you and get you moving in the right direction and help you overcome the hurdles that so many people face as a first-time grower and have successful harvests right off the bat. You know, out of the chute, if you can have a good successful harvest, then you can really skate the expense of having to buy meds from a dispensary. So, but I want to take some time and talk to Russ about his experience. When I met Russ, he had gone on Amazon and bought some equipment. So he was headed on his way, and he had gotten a little overwhelmed with everything. And how did you hear about me?
You know, it was I was at Home Depot, and there was this thing on the bathroom stall.
Wow.
I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that opening. No. Actually, my wife told me about Big V through a friend of hers who gets her hair done by Brenda, Big V's wife. So it came through the grapevine, came around that way.
You heard it through the grapevine.
I heard it through the grapevine, and you know, being a product, I'm 63 years old, and I lived through this entire life of mine where this stuff has been illegal, and people get terribly harsh punishment for using cannabis. And whenever it came up on the Missouri ballot a few years ago, I was like amazed. And I want to acknowledge all the people who made this happen in the state of Missouri.
For sure.
I know those people are pioneers.
Yes.
This did not happen just because the state of ours decided they thought we should have this. It took a lot of work, and I want to thank everybody who made that happen.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yep.
And I've committed I will join the organization that made it happen because I'd like to see this grow and get better and bigger. So I spent 20 years in the Navy, and of course in the Navy we didn't touch the stuff, and because we weren't allowed. You know, in those days, you go to the brig or you lose you get kicked out of the military. So, so when it came up, I was like, wow. And then it actually happened. And then a friend of mine said, look what I got. And he showed me his card. And I go, how did you get that? He goes, you just got to go to a doctor and you got to do the whole thing. So I found that out.
Told you the process.
Told me the process. And it is a process, and it's a very doable process. And I encourage people not to be intimidated about the process because it is real. It happens. And when I found out about Coach V, I had already plowed into the unknown. You know, Google, Mr. and Mrs. Google will tell you how to do anything. The only problem is if you start Googling about how to grow cannabis, you will find out about 17,000 different opinions about what you should and shouldn't do, and what you should start with and what you shouldn't start with, and how to do it and how not to do it, and it gets very confusing. But if you go to Amazon, you can actually get a whole kit. Get a kit. That's how I started. I got the kit, and I go, what do I do with it? So how do I get genetics? How do I find genetics? Because I hadn't been using or getting medication here in Missouri, so I had no connections to anybody about anything. So I figured I'm on my own, but I'm going to do it because I believe in it.
Right.
And I called a place in California that sold genetics, and they said, sure, give us your credit card. We'll sell you some genetics. Well, it never came. It never came. And fortunately, Bank of America, we disputed that and got rid of that. But I'm thinking, how am I going to get started with this? So then I started looking up seed sources. And I was going nowhere fast. And then I found out about Big V. I said, let me call this guy. And I called this guy, and you know, he's a rather intimidating looking guy, you know, but I met with him, and I liked the way he talked, and I liked how he believed in organics. Organics, you know, the fact that you can grow clean, chemical-free medication, grow it yourself so you know what's in it, you know it hasn't been altered, And if I can grow your own, is just an incredible experience for me at my stage of my life.
You love it, don't you?
I love it. I do love it. I love plants. Plants are living things. You know, like the gentleman James before us talked about all the benefits of
Right.
gardening and things. These are living creatures. I call them my girls. They're so rewarding to have these girls around. You know, they're challenging. Boy, they're fickle too. They can really give you a high one day of wow, they're looking great, and the next day they're looking not so great, and you're going, we haven't been spending enough quality time together, have we, dear? I think we need a date night. So
Date with some microbial
date
tea, right?
with some yeah.
Nice wine glass full of microbial brew and some.
Did I give you the wrong
Alfalfa
pH?
meal,
Did I
you
say
know.
something wrong?
Right, yeah.
What did I say? I didn't mean that, honey. But
Right.
anyway, go ahead. I'm
For
sorry.
sure.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. You're good. So talk about your first grow. Talk about the equipment you got and how did you use all your equipment that you got? What was going on with that? How'd you get set up on your grow?
Well, you know, that's a good question. So in Amazon, I bought a kit. I bought a 4x4 tent. My wife tried to say, because my wife is not into this as much as I am, of course. She spent a lifetime of not having anything to do with cannabis. She believes in all the reefer madness and the devil's weed and all that
But there was
stuff.
a little convincing to be done.
There was a lot of convincing to be done, but she allowed me. She allowed me because it was legal.
Right.
Because it was legal and I had my card. So I ordered this kit and I got a CMH light, which I didn't even know what CMH meant. I got a CMH light and I got this 4x4 tent, and I thought, man, I have everything I need. Well, I found out I really didn't, but it was a start. But I didn't have anything to grow. I didn't have any genetics yet. I didn't have any seeds. I didn't have anything. I had a desire and a dream, but I didn't have any way to get started. And then I met Coach V, and Coach V pointed me to reliable genetics people so that I could get genetics like I needed and to get my start. And then I found out I didn't have half of everything I needed for my setup, and Coach V helped get me through the setup, and we're off to the races. We get something in the tent and we get going.
Absolutely. And now, did you end up using a 315 watt? We changed it around a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, well,
We took the ballast off the hood and got you a air cooled hood so that
everything
you
came
weren't
from
battling with heat
China.
and stuff.
China,
Right,
is
yeah.
saying that right?
Yeah.
China.
That's okay.
Where's Donald when you need him? China,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. But anyway, yeah, the CMH I got did
Didn't
not.
go to Alibaba.com or anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't do anything like that. The CMH I got didn't have cooling. Who needs cooling? It just need light. What do you need cooling for? Well, I found out when you put a CMH bulb inside of a 4x4 space and you don't cool it off, it gets rather warm in there.
Right.
And the girls aren't really happy with all that warmth. They're like, hey, you want fried medication? Then fine. But if you don't, you're going to have to treat us better than this or we're not going to give you nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
you
So
told
we got
me-
you cooled down.
And Happy Rock Farms. I also want to tell people, if you're going to do this, get yourself a good, reliable grow shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
That has the
Yeah,
equipment
Happy Rock
you need.
Farms.
Happy Rock
That's why I'm
Farms.
here, because I believe in what they're doing.
The folks here are so helpful.
Yep.
And I got all my equipment here. I upgraded my equipment so I could get started.
So what do you think your biggest struggle was right off the bat with the grow tent? I know what I think it was.
It was temperature and humidity.
There you go.
That baby sweated like
Yep.
an athlete on a hot summer day. I mean, I go in there in the morning, it was raining.
Right.
I'd unzip that tent and look in there, and I had water running down the sides and water everywhere. I'm thinking, this don't look good. And then the humidity would be like 96%. You're thinking, and then you go reading on all the Google world, and it tell you keep it at 70%. I go, how in the heck am I going to keep this tent at 70%? And it was like it was a box within a big box.
So it was a pretty easy fix, though, wasn't it?
It was. Coach V got me straightened out on that humidity thing, and then it was
Just
a
needed
temperature
some
thing.
circulation, yeah.
Needs some circulation.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you got good genetics. You got seeds up. You got the or cuttings or whatever you came up with, and you got them in pots, got them in your tent.
Right.
Tell me about your grow. After you got your climate and everything worked out, and we got that straightened out and going good. Just tell me about what you liked about your grow, what you didn't like about it. What was it?
My first grow was 4 plants.
Right.
I did 4 indicas, and I was just in awe that Russell Baltnight, at 63 years old, had 4 marijuana plants growing in my basement, and it was legal. It was legal. I had a card that somebody come knocking on my door, I can say, legal. So I'm like, legal, isn't that something?
Right.
That's something. I probably took 2,000 pictures of them. It's probably, I never had children, but I know.
So we have some pictures?
I know how people are.
Do you have any pictures?
I know how
of
people
this
are
stuff?
with children. It's
Awesome.
like every day I got a new leaf. Take a picture. Wow, there's another leaf. Wow, there's a hair thing looking there. Wow, what's this? What's that? I mean, it was just like the age of discovery. It was kind of like losing your virginity again
Right.
or something. You know what I mean? Almost that good.
I'm telling you, you're describing it right. That's for sure.
It's a
You know,
thrill. It's a thrill.
It never
really
gets
is.
old watching a new grower come through the process and get that successful harvest.
Watching them girls go from babies to like young adults to actually adulthood, and then boy, when they start putting those flowers on, man, what a show to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty, isn't it?
It's pretty. It's really pretty. And the point of it is, I don't want to lose sight of this. First of all, we are in trying times, as James said. I want to say this. For the 195,000 people who've lost their lives due to this virus, and their families and their friends, you know, my heart goes to that situation, and I'm hoping we get through this thing.
Right.
For the rest of the world, folks like me in their 60s and 70s, all of us in our age, we were children of the 70s. You know, we all smoked. It was all illegal. Or a lot of us did, you know. We smoked and it was illegal. We did other things that were illegal. You know, it was just what we did. And now that we've reached maturity or our senior years, instead of going to a doctor and getting some kind of opioid or some kind of pharmaceutical made by some pharmaceutical company that's more interested in lining their pockets with profits, you can actually, so many medical things that can be treated or helped or made better by use of good grade, homegrown medical cannabis.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a great thing.
It's a
It's
pretty
a great thing.
pretty amazing plant for sure. So,
Okay.
so you're coming up on harvest. Things
Yeah.
are getting pretty. Talk about it.
Well, you know, there's the stage. What I will tell you is that, once again, if you go Google, you find, let's see, Royal Seeds, or you find Roll It or Light It, or all those sites that has everything. It will give you so many different opinions of what you should do. The value of having a grow coach is just tremendous, just tremendous. I will say that I do not believe I would have accomplished what I've accomplished without the mentorship and the grow coach that I've had. And of course, Vernon's the only grow coach I've ever known, so he's the greatest there is. However, I'm sure there are other
Plenty
great
good ones out there.
I'm sure there's plenty good ones out there, but I really enjoy that. So when it come down to time to get ready to harvest, and we started talking about things called trichomes, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Trichomes.
I never even knew those little dudes were on those plants.
That's where all the good stuff
Until you
is.
start looking at them under a microscope, then you
Right.
get even more excited. You're like, wow, look at all that stuff. And people call it frost, and they call it dust, and they call it whatever they call it. But man, it's like really exciting to watch it. And then finding out that there's certain stage of the plant's life that you bring them down or you harvest them, and you'll get this type of benefit if they're this color, or they're this type of benefit if they're that color, and all that stuff. But the harvesting was very exciting. And then learning about how to cure them, how to cure your flowers. Because, folks, if you don't cure your flowers, then you just wasted a whole lot of time to grow some beautiful medication.
Absolutely.
But you've got to cure these babies. And you know, growing up in the South, I was around tobacco a little bit, and I know a little bit about how tobacco farmers cured tobacco. So I saw some similarities in the two plants
Right.
to get them to cure and,
Oh, cool.
and dry out.
Yeah, humidity, and I know a lot of people that cure in humidors. You know, and
Yeah.
they even store their bud in humidors. If you
Well, I
want
don't-
to spend the money on a humidor, you know,
I don't have a humidor.
I don't either.
don't either.
I have mason jars. They
Yes.
work fine.
They do. They work great.
Beautiful. So, yeah.
And now that tent, because I've gone on, and now that tent that I started in,
Right.
I call it the mothership. I got the mothership now in my grow space, and she's sitting there waiting because I got my second harvest fixing to come down, and I'm going to use my grow tent as my curing space now. So she's going to still live with me. I can't quite part with her yet because she got me my first grow.
Sure. Okay. See a question up. We have, what's the best humidifier? You're talking about you had a humidity issue. What's the best humidifier? I haven't studied like consumer reports or anything on humidifiers, but Honeywell makes a pretty good one.
Well, I got mine. Of course, I went to, on the humidifier side, I went to Home Depot and got a humidifier.
Right.
And what I found out, though, here's the thing you got to be aware of. Humidifiers, they take moisture out of the air, but they put heat back in the room.
Right. Absolutely.
So they have a plus minus factor in the fact that they're going to help your humidity get right, but they're going to heat up your room.
So ventilation.
Now you get a temperature, so now it turns into a ventilation issue.
Ventilation, or if you go with a closed room, you have air conditioning, but you're not doing that. You have a airflow.
I have an airflow system.
You have an induction room, so you pull the air through a passive airflow and force it out through an exhaust.
Right.
Through a carbon scrubber.
A carbon scrubber.
So
because my wife gave me this mandate. She said if anyone walks in this house and they smell marijuana, I'm not going to be a happy wife. And we know a happy spouse is a happy life, right?
Happy spouse, happy house.
There we go. I'm learning. Vernon's teaching me a new gig. I used to think it was a happy wife, happy life. But I've learned it's a happy spouse, a happy house. So,
right, yeah.
which gives us, that's kind of more
Hey,
of
it's got to be equal.
It's the equality
it's
thing.
equal.
You know, we
Right,
both
it's
got to be
equal.
happy,
Right,
honey.
yeah.
Are you happy with me, honey?
I'm happy with you, sugar.
I love you, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
I'd kiss
So-
you if we wouldn't get in trouble. You
Yeah,
know,
not,
but that,
not now. Let me
No,
put my
not now.
mask on
Yeah,
if you're going
right.
to kiss me. I'm sorry.
no, that's
So-
okay.
So the bottom
You
line
need to
is,
shave first.
Yeah.
I don't like the hair on the top lip.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
I got you.
So, was your harvest everything you expected? How much?
And
what
more.
kind of
And
weight did you
more.
get off of
And
4
more.
plants?
You know, 4 plants gave me just shy of a pound.
That's not bad for your first grow.
For my
and-
first grow, I was pretty impressed because I'm going to reference my wife a lot. Angela, if you're watching out there, hello, baby. So she was like, well, let's see if you can even grow this stuff before we spend any more money on this, because you've already spent, in her world,
Right.
she added up the tally because she's the bookkeeper, and it was looking pretty heavy. She said, you've spent all this, and so far you haven't got anything but 4 little girls down there, and do you even know if you can grow this stuff? And, I proved that I could.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Which I worried about them a lot, and I fussed over them.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I do want to tell you, if you're going to grow medication, it's a daily love affair. You need to look at them every day.
Yep.
They say they need carbon dioxide. So
Talk to them.
I talk to them. Oh boy, I talk to my girls. We talk a lot.
Yep.
I say and as I talk to them, they look greener, they look fuller, and they grow bigger buds. So I talk to them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got almost a pound off
Almost-
4 plants.
almost
Where
pound.
how tall were those plants, would you say, when they finished out? Would you say 18 inches?
I
maybe?
would say
So,
maybe
about so tall?
from the
from
top of the bag to the top of the plant,
About so tall?
about so tall.
So under a 315 watt light, and you got almost a pound off 4 plants. That's not bad for your first grow.
It was a very good first
Yeah.
grow.
So
I was amazed. Because they say in a 4x4 tent you can put more than 4 plants. I didn't want to crowd my girls.
Right.
I didn't want to crowd my girls. So I wanted to give them plenty of room
Yep.
to be themselves.
Spread out.
Be themselves. And it pretty much filled up my tent
Mm-hmm.
space with those 4 plants.
Yep, it sure did.
They did
It was
really
a beautiful
good.
grow. It was a beautiful grow.
And I used, they were beautiful grow. I used Coca Loco from Fox Farm.
Yep.
Was my first grow.
Yep.
I got my soil from here. That was before Dank and
Yep, it's before we made the
before we started making all that. But yeah, it's
Right.
Coco Loco.
absolutely, and you definitely had a successful harvest.
My first harvest, and much to my coach's dismay, I took on a patient before I got done with my first grow. I have a very good friend of mine. I'm gonna
And how did I react to that?
You're like, you're out of your friggin' mind. You haven't even produced your first bud, and you're already taking on. It's irresponsible, I think you said, to take on a caregiver
You think
role.
I'm a little honest?
Oh yes, he's brutal. Hey, you took on a caregiver role, and you haven't even produced your first bud. So I hope you're successful with this, because you're going to have to be.
Right.
But I got a buddy of mine who has joint issues,
Right.
a lot of joint issues, and a lot of pain, and was having to be prescribed synthetic narcotics,
Yeah, that's no good.
and he wanted off of those things in the worst way. And I said, hey man, I'll take on growing, and I took it on.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And now you've got a little bitty room that you're growing out of.
Yeah, well, my first little 4x4 tent now has turned into a 19 by 8.
Was it 8 or 10? I think it's 10 by 19.
It's 10 by
Yep.
19 grow space. Yeah, so we went.
And you've got an 8 by 10 bloom room.
I got an 8 by 10
And the
bloom
rest
room.
is veg.
Veg and
cuttings, all
drying
that
and
good
cuttings,
stuff, yeah.
dirt,
Right.
everything that.
What'd you choose for lighting for your
Well,
garden?
I went to Fluence Spider 2 Eyes.
Got 2 of those.
Got two Fluences, yes.
And now you've got a jungle.
I call it
Tell us about your jungle.
my helter skelter room because my first so
I want to talk about my experience with Russ a little bit.
go ahead.
Russ is a little bit anxious, I guess you'd say. He's kind of a go-getter. He likes to jump out and do things without
I'm
thinking about it.
63. I ain't got as many
don't
years.
have a lot of time,
I ain't got
right?
as many years left as I've already spent. I mean, I got to get going. This is like, hey, go ahead.
I think my first thing with him was he says, well, what do I need to do? I said, you need to learn patience. Because he gets ahead of himself a little bit. Now he's got an 8 by 10 room full of out of control plants. No, they're not. They really look nice, and they're a little bigger than the last ones. He's got it crowded out, and they do look nice though. What varieties are you running in there?
Well, I've got L.A. Pure. I've got Fruity Pebbles, and we have Purple Kush, and we have Mindo Breath, and we have Carl's Cake, and we have Dawn's Delight, and we have L.A. Let's see, I said L.A. Purple Kush.
I think that's what you got.
I think that's what I got.
Yeah.
What I did find out, though, folks, I'll tell you, I didn't even know what an indica was. I didn't know what a sativa. I keep thinking about that sweetener.
It's not stevia.
Not stevia. I didn't even know about I didn't even know about the different strains until I start growing them. And so I've got these little. I'm in veg, and I got some plants this tall, and I got these other ones that are already like, where's that thing going? It's like Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? You know what I mean? So by the time I put them from veg and take them into bloom, they were already as tall as I was, and I'm thinking. And Vern's like, you better chop them things down, dude, because you're not going to be able to control this because they're going to.
Take cuttings off of them.
One of the things you'll learn, folks, when you do your first grow, and by the way, it's very exciting. You'll learn that they do this thing called stretch when you go from veg to bloom.
Yep.
They'll grow maybe 1.5 times what they already are. So if you're already tall as I am when you go in there, can you imagine where they want to go? I'm like, I don't have a house that's got 20-foot ceilings, so this is going to be a problem. So yeah,
now you didn't do that under my coaching, did you?
No,
That's kind of your deal.
I every once
That
in a
was
while.
one of those things that you just kind of went and did.
You ask my dad and
I'm
ask
not
my
taking
coach.
blame for that.
Every once in a while, I'll defy my coaching.
Yeah, you're like that kid who just says, "Okay, coach," and then goes and does what he wants to.
Goes and does it anyway.
No,
I mean,
really.
he's telling me I need to chop this thing and not take it to flour. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've already invested this much time to get it here. This thing's going all the way. And me and it's going all the way. And she and I have gone all the way.
Yeah, you did.
I've got some pictures.
You got her broke over.
I got some pictures. I got them broke. And I learned about knuckles. I got knuckles. They broke over. And I got tomato cages. And I got them tied down. I got them tied up. And them girls are still doing good. So I'm glad they like being tied up because.
Yeah, that's your pleasure room, brother.
Be careful here. Hi, Angie, if you're still watching. We're not talking. Don't get me in trouble.
Oh,
at home.
boy.
Happy house, happy spouse.
Well, I think we're going to end on that note.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna close the next session. We're gonna talk about some organic growing. I'm gonna have Eric McSwain here with me. We're gonna talk about a couple different ways to grow organics with bottled nutrients, in containers with living soil, and in no-till in beds. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of a tea demonstration. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. So stick around.
So, okay.
Yep. Real quick, one more round of applause for these guys here. Doing a great job. We'll be right back with all that stuff there. We're going to take a quick break here and go check out what's going on with the Canada Convict Project. Before we do that, just a reminder, we got lots of great prizes to give away tonight, a free medical marijuana certification, lots of free grow stuff we're giving away, 6 5-gallon fabric pots, 3 bags of the dank living soil, a bag of the dank dust. So tag a friend. Let's go and check in with Christina at Canada Convict Project and see what's going on.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the show. Chris and Christina here with the Canada Convict Project. We've got a lot to talk about this week.
We want to start out by saying happy birthday to one of our very special board members, Dolores Halbin. She had her birthday on Tuesday, and we just wanted to give her a special shout out. She's been such a long-time advocate for the community as a whole, and she's kind of adopted everyone as their surrogate mothers. And we love you, and happy birthday, Dolores.
Happy birthday, Dolores. This past weekend we had the Canada Fam Fest. We want to thank Nathan Allen for coming up with the idea of putting this stuff together. We want to thank the Canada Matriarchs for making it all happen. It was a real fun time. They raised probably $5,000 to $6,000 for 10 nonprofits, so it's going to help out a lot of people. And we were one of the nonprofits that had a table there. It was a lot of fun, good time. There's so many different sponsors, so hopefully this can be a yearly thing. We can do it again.
Okay, so we want to jump into some of our advocacy effort updates. First off, we want to remind everyone that Aaron and Adela Wisdom have an upcoming court date this Friday on the 18th. It is a hearing, and it will most likely be continued just because a lot of what's going on in the courts right now are on a continuous basis. But we still want to shout out to them and give them some love and support, and I hope the rest of the community can show them that same love and support. They were recently granted their public defender. They were originally denied. That has been overturned. They are now granted their public defenders for their representation, whom we will be collaborating with in their defense. I know public defenders take a lot of flack. One thing I really want everyone to understand, because I work for a similar organization where we are court-appointed attorneys, is the caseload in which they are given. It is verging on malpractice due to their caseload, because there are so many people who are in need and the system is overwhelmed. I really hope everyone understands that they really are doing the best that they can. They catch a lot of flack from every side, but they are still real attorneys, and they are doing their job to the best of their ability with the amount of time and caseload that they have. So that's why we're really excited to be able to assist them in Aaron and Adela's defense. Next, we have Zachariah Nutt. He has sentencing next week on the 24th. He is looking at anywhere from 6 to 40 years. We'll find out what the judge decides for his sentencing. Please still continue to send those character letters to him as well as the judge. We'll update that on our page again, so that you can get those characters and letters of recommend sent out on his behalf. Hopefully he can get a good sentence figured out. His attorney has really worked really hard to work out that grid to get him the best outcome possible. He has already served a little over 3 years sitting in county jail, which anyone knows you would much rather be in prison than in county jail. There are no resources, there are no classes, there's nothing to do but literally sit there and rot. So we will be putting up some updates with him as it comes closer to time to that sentencing. We will have a couple of our board members, as well as Chris and I, going down to Jeff City in support of him. We had previously talked with his attorney about testifying on his behalf. So we have some members who are ready and waiting to do that for him. We're just waiting for the word on what his attorney has actually decided to do. Next, Anthony Bearden. He is Charles White's co-conspirator. Charles was released June 12th of this year on the CARES Act. So we've been trying to collaborate with Anthony and his counselor ever since then, on Anthony's behalf, to try and get him released on the CARES Act as well. One of the things that we really had to wait until he met was his 50% mark, which we just got in the mail 2 days ago, that he is at 50.1%. So that's awesome. We're working with our legal team to get some motions put together that we're going to send to his sentencing judge as well as the warden, and hopefully he will be released on that CARES Act as soon as possible, if at all. Fingers crossed. We'll keep you guys posted. Send your love into the universe and support for him as well. And we'll update his information in the meantime, so you guys can send some character and letters of recommend to him also. I also want to touch on Trevor Sauer and Robert Franklin. They're the two who are serving time on a statute that is no longer in existence here in Missouri, where they are not eligible for parole. They both have clemencies that have been submitted to the governor. If you could send the governor an email, call, write. You're most likely going to get a generated form letter that says it's under consideration. Still, blow them up. We need to remind these people about Trevor and Robert and the dozens of others who are sitting without parole eligibility under this statute. Again, that doesn't even exist in Missouri any longer.
Let them out. I mean, everybody's making money here in the state. Everybody's, enjoying legal cannabis, and here these people are rotting away in prison.
Yeah,
Write those letters.
They've served 16 years total together so far.
Ridiculous.
So that's a little out of control. Next, we want to talk about Raymond Breer. He is the one who we've been talking about repeatedly with the probation violation up in Harrison County, Missouri. He was taken into custody when his bond was revoked on August 27th. He was released from custody on September 8th. His PO was sick, so they went ahead and released him on bond with certain bond conditions, such as he cannot medicate. He has a continued court date of October 22nd, which we will be present. Joni has been working diligently in collaboration with his attorney, presenting legal arguments in his defense, and those arguments will be presented to the judge and prosecutor and probation officer on October 22nd. So we'll be calling out for some court support, public support, once it gets a little closer to time. So we hope everyone can show up and show the love to him as well. We also want to remind everyone we had an announcement on Monday about the holiday helpings that Canna Convict has teamed up with Rustic Oils, Aiden's Alliance, and Missouri Cannabis Network. And we're very excited. It's 3 holidays that we're hoping to support the community in need with. We are going to do Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. For Halloween, we're going to have donation boxes set up around the state in which you can drop off candy or old costumes that your children have grown out of. Not everyone can afford to buy their children candy or new costumes, and so we're hoping that we can get some good use out of what we already have and give back. As well as Thanksgiving, we'll be collecting food donations, non-perishables. Same with Christmas, and with Christmas also stocking stuffers. Along with that, there will be an opportunity to give cash donations as well as online donations. So for Thanksgiving, we can buy turkeys or ham, and same for Christmas, so we can get something that's more than just non-perishables and actually give a full meal. So please reach out to us. We're creating a website for that because it wouldn't allow us to create an event spanning that much time. So it'll have all of our contact information on there. So either if you're in need, please don't be afraid to reach out. It's judgment free. We're not giving out people's identities. And if you know of a family in need who may not feel comfortable reaching out on their own behalf, you are welcome to nominate.
It's a hard time for so many people right now with everything going on with COVID and everybody losing their jobs and losing their bonuses and just everything that's going on. These amazing ladies put together some stuff. So support if you can and reach out if you need any assistance.
And that's about all we have for you today. You guys enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you for all the love and support that you give us and that you give everyone else in the community. The fight's not over. We know it's not over. We still got to stand shoulder to shoulder to get this program where we want it to be, as well as extended into the future for full adult use. We'll see you next week, guys.
Love you guys.
Hey everybody, Big V here, and I'm coming to you from my favorite place in the world, my garden. There's a lot of exciting things going on since Missouri's passed the laws that allow us to use cannabis legally for medication, and one of those things that excites me the most is that they legalized us cultivating our own medication in our own home, and that's an area that's near and dear to my heart. I started the KC Grow Coach so I could teach people how to grow their own cannabis and avoid a lot of the pitfalls that newbies that have never grown cannabis or have never grown indoors anything at all often encounter. So that's what KC Grow Coach is all about. And when I was presented with the opportunity to do the Evolution Magazine Home Grow series, that was the main thing I wanted to talk about, was cultivating your own medical cannabis. And I want to talk about the way I do it, which a lot of you know me, and a lot of you already follow me on Facebook and whatnot, and are my friends and in my group. And you know that I'm an organic guy, and that I'm all about the soil. The magic is in the dirt. It is. And so that's what I want to talk about on the Evolution Magazine Home Grow series. That's going to be September 17th on a Thursday night. Join me in there. Let's get in a discussion. Ask me questions. I'm going to talk about organic gardening, what goes in the dirt, what goes on the dirt, what goes on the plant, everything. Organic teas. We're just going to talk about it all. Myths, snake oils, don't fall for these traps. These are just, we're going to cover a whole lot of stuff. So get with me. September 17th, Evolution Magazine Home Grow Series, and let's talk about organic farming, and at least let me introduce to you what the KC Grow Coach is all about. You never know, you might know somebody that I could help. So peace out, happy growing, and stay lifted.
Green Gene Terpene here backstage at the CannaFest Bowl Nationals, the Auto Growathon, a 4-state competition pitting grower against grower, where they all grow the magic melon auto flower from Humboldt seeds. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you into this competition, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Green Gene. 25 large, and I'm gonna be in charge when I put my stamp on the rest of the competition.
Well, Missouri's the newest one to a legal cannabis market here. The other states have a bit of a head start. What do you think about some of the competition in the new burgeoning market in Oklahoma?
Oh, Groklahoma. Oklahoma is the where I stop to take dumps on my way to Texas to find an actual pretty little gal.
What? Doesn't seem like you're trying to make any friends in Oklahoma. Colorado's got a real head start on everybody. They've been having the longest recreational market in the whole game. You got to think the competition's pretty stiff out there. What do you have to say about them?
Oh, you didn't hear? Green Gene, you didn't hear? Did you hear?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, they can't even grow cannabis out in Colorado anymore.
Why?
'cause John Elway's teeth got in the way of the sun's rays, and all their plants died from calcium and magnesium deficiencies.
That seems like a weird thing for it to not have light or calcium and magnesium. All right, California. That's where they've been doing it the longest. People say that the favorites might even be in California. What do you have to say about the California competition, sir?
Oh, in California. Let me do an impersonation of someone in California. I'm leaving. Get me out of here. I'm soft. I'm leaving. 'Cause I'm scared. They're scared that the state's gonna break off into the Pacific Ocean and float away. Bye-bye, California. And you can't even find a good nug anywhere on the island.
Well, folks, there you have it. The Missouri Madman means business. We're going to kick this thing back to you, Bill.
Hey, give me that microphone and let me tell you a little secret about my life. I was born in the Fertile Crescent, where the Missouri River comes right up on the Mississippi. And it should be called the Missouri River because it's longer when they meet. I was born in the nutrients. I got all the newts. You want nitrogen? I pulled it from the air, and I'm going to put it down into God's green earth, and I'm going to grow the best magic melon the world's ever seen.
There you have it. The Madman means business. We're going to kick this back to you, Bill.
And thank you so much, Steve and Craig, for putting together those amazing commercials for the CanaFest Bowl. Tonight here at Happy Rock Farms, we have the 10 contestants that are part of the team here at Happy Rock, some of the best growers Missouri has ever seen. We're going to give a quick introduction to all the team members here. So, guys, how about tell me your name and where you're from, your criminal record. No, I'm just kidding. How about your name, where you're from, and maybe what style grow you like to do?
Okay, my name is, I go by probably Marcus. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I prefer to use soil and organics. Just growing some of the best, the stinkiest, and the healthiest, not just me, the plant too.
That's right. Right on, brother. Cool. And then, let's bring on our next one here. So, name, where you're from, and
from Kansas City.
What was your name again?
Shane from Kansas City. Amended soil.
And do you have a message for the St. Louis growers?
Good luck.
And then who else we got here? So tell us your name, where you're from, and then if you have a message to any of the other growers in the competition.
David Hogan, Southeast Missouri or Southwest Missouri. I'm usually in Fox Farm soil, and rest of Missouri, watch out.
Watch out. We got the best growers here tonight. Thanks so much, David. Our next guy here, name, where you're from, and then how you grow, or a message to the other growers.
Definitely. Hello, I'm Izzy out of Kansas City, and I grow using Synganics, a little bit of organics, a little bit of synthetics, and just try to bring the dank.
Bring the dank to Kansas City. That's right. Thanks so much. Who else we got here? Come on over here, brother. So, name, where you're from, how you like to grow, message to the other growers. What you got?
Oh, the camera. Hey, how you doing, everybody? First of all, I want to give a shout out to Happy Rocks, my boy Big V, my boy from Evolutions. Everybody's giving us this opportunity. My name is OG Frosty Buzz on Instagram. You might know me as Favorable Genetics on Facebook. Got a few pages. However, I'm here just to represent, the Midwest, and I grow I do the no-till, living organics, but right now I'm doing it hydro for this competition. So other than that, I just thank every one of you and continue to rock with us, man, and support us as we make this happen in the Midwest.
That's right. We got some OGs coming out of the woodworks, allegedly. First grows, though. Who else we got here?
I'm Jonesy, Kansas City, Missouri, and I just grow in cocoa and amendments. That's about it.
And a lot of people know this guy. I'm currently growing the community of the Missouri cannabis industry. Yeah, I allegedly I grew before, but who knows how that stuff works. But Jonesy, a lot of people know him. A lot of people follow him on social media. Another one of the great players here on the team at Happy Rock. Any message to the other growers on the St. Louis side? Or
Bring your game.
Bring your game, because we got the A++ game here in Kansas City. So thanks so much, Jonesy. Who else we got here? I know this guy.
Eric McSwain, how you doing out there? Proud to represent Kansas City, Team Happy Rock. I grow in living soil. I farm the soil and let the cannabis do its thing. Get me at Instagram at Lit Farmer. Some people know me as. We'd love to see you. All you other growers out there, come on, Missouri, represent. Get your hands dirty. Let's do this.
All right. Have anybody else? Hey, Big V's coming up here. But hey, Jonesy, dial up that picture of the seed that's sprouting. Jonesy, on your phone, dial up that picture of the seed that's sprouting. And then here's our last introduction here. Everybody knows Big V. Big V is the guy that kind of headed up this whole team. He brought everybody together. He's given all the it's a communal advice. But what do you have to say to all the other growers in the competition?
Well, you know what? I don't have to give anybody here advice. They've all pretty much got their own ways of doing things. They're seasoned. They know what to do. That's why they're here. And all I can say is like OG Frosty Buds over here say, hashtag dial it in, brother.
That's right. So we got some amazing growers here. This competition is going to be fierce, and we're hoping next week, whenever we pass the show over to the Hoosier guys, that they're going to have some little feedback on who their guys are, maybe a little competitive talking back and forth. Real quick before we pass it on to the rest of the show, hey Jonesy, let me see that. Hey, Jonesy, let me check that picture out on camera. Will you show that to the camera? So this is the seeds they just got, and we'll walk through the kit here in a minute. But hopefully we can get a shot. Look at that bad boy. That thing that just sprouted out. That's going to be like 5 plants in one seed, I'm pretty sure. So obviously the genetics are good. The seeds are good. Thanks to Humboldt Green and the CannaFest Bowl and Auto Growathon for putting all this on. We're going to track the whole progress of the competition all the way until the get-together for announcing the winner, which is going to be, I think, at the end of December or first part of January. So we're going to track the whole progress, watch our shows the whole time. We'll show you what's going on with that. But let's go ahead and pass it on over to Big V. And we got Eric McSwain here with MCIA. We're going to talk a little bit more about organic gardening.
All right, here we are. Back with the second part, we're going to talk about gardening.
That's right. I got my rally towel.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
Our masks.
That's right.
This was part of the kit for the, this is the kit here. Yeah, let's talk about this. So the competition kit. I'm going to show this off.
We got all kind of fun things.
House and Garden sponsoring.
Yeah.
Got some Bavita packs,
yeah.
Looks like.
Yeah, it looked like
a little bit of bling.
Humboldt put some good stuff together for us.
Always have
their
bling.
Partners.
What do you think about it? You ever use a multi-zen there?
No, I sure don't, but I think I'm going to give it a try for the sake of this competition. I mean, it seems like they want me to use a little of it. So.
Well, they might. Shooting powder.
We'll see what's up. And don't forget that. It's not a big part of it, but everybody needs these. That little mason jar.
I'm going to say something about the root accelerator. I use this in my cloning solution, and I swear by it.
You just kind of mix it up with water?
Gallon of water, 2 milliliters of this a gallon.
You think that'd sub for like a whole gel or what?
No. This is
just a prep.
When I take the cutting and I put it in the water,
yep.
I put this in it and let it soak it for a couple hours before I dip it in the hormone and put it in the cube. So good stuff there.
Makes sense. Cool.
So, but that's the kit. Where are the seeds? Right here. Here are the seeds.
That's right.
Magic melon. That's what we're growing. So we got 6 seeds there. I think they're up behind the label there, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
There they come.
That's right. Supposed to get done in 55 days. So it's an auto. We got like 72.
We'll see.
So.
Yep, we'll see.
Good luck to you.
But thing about it is I've never grown autos before.
Yep. Well,
So
you've grown something.
Personal
so-
confession, but we've got some guys that have grown some autos before and have given me some great advice, and I think I can pull it off.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with organic farming. I'm
Yep.
going to do the way I do. That's what I want to talk about a little bit tonight. I get a lot of questions on organic farming. It's kind of my thing. There's a few different ways to grow organically and be successful. And I just kind of want to talk about them and cover the bases about them, you know, and, you know, get a drink because my mouth's dry for some reason.
That's all right. It happens. It happens. You know, and I think as far as organic goes, it's, you know, you can grow hydroponics and organically. That's not a problem. There are a lot of products out there that'll get you to that. You can grow hydroponics and vegan if you want.
Absolutely.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
The Advanced Nutrients actually just came out this year with a hydroponic organic line. So, and it has several of the beneficials and additives that you can use, and it's basically, and it's OMI, so it's California organic rated. So
Okay.
it's actually a higher rating than the OMRI.
Okay.
So yeah, so.
But we prefer to go all the way and go and get dirty.
Dirty.
Get the
Doing
finger-
it in the
get
dirt, baby.
Get it all under
I
your
like to do it in the dirt.
fingernails, all that sort of stuff. Now, why that as opposed to, I mean, just hydroponic organics or?
Well, me personally, I just like I like the ease. I guess I've grown hydroponically and gone as organic as possible in hydroponics, and the pH, keeping the pH balanced in an organic hydroponic grow is a pain in the ass, basically. I mean, you know, so, but I went soil out of necessity for a situation, and organic is the only way I could go. I like the dirt now because I can move the plants. There are a lot of reasons I like growing in dirt, but the main thing is because I've never been able to achieve the terpene profiles and the bud density that I can in soil. And that could just be me. I mean, that could just be because
that's true.
That's my growing style, because I'm not as good at hydroponics as somebody else would be, because I know some fabulous hydroponics growers out there, you know, organic or not, I know, but I like to know that, to me, I like the living soil, because the living soil is as close to the natural state that the plant can be in my garden.
Even better.
And
even
it
better.
It actually is.
Soils
because-
we put together are way
Right.
better than anything you'll find in Missouri.
Absolutely. So, you know, and the one thing about it is when you're growing organic into pots, there are a lot of bottled nutrients out there, and the biggest problem that you have with 90% of the bottled nutrients, I guess I would say, if I had to choose a ratio, they're chelated nutrients. So basically they're a synthetic nutrient wrapped in organic material. So when you put them into the soil, they clash with the microbial life that's already in the soil. So you want to make sure that you choose a nutrient that doesn't clash with the microbial life, or else start with basically an inert medium and then just go in with the nutrients. That way you're not fighting yourself, because you'll confuse the plant and you won't get as good a harvest.
And that's really what we're talking about, is organic living soil, right? I mean,
pretty
not
much,
just using organics on some sort of, inert medium. That's still hydroponics, by the way. If you're doing
Kind of,
cocoa
yeah.
with organics, that's
or
hydroponics.
cocoa peat mix or whatever,
Still hydroponics, because you're relying on that
Right.
water and an instant delivery directly to
Sure.
the plants. When we're talking about living soils, we're really talking about building a community of all kinds of little beasties, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right. When we're talking about living soil, right now I'm just actually talking about just container gardening, and the simplest way with some getting organic without, paying attention. These bottled nutrients. This is the brand, and I want to plug these guys. So, not because I'm connected to them, but if I had to use a bottled nutrient, this is the bottled nutrient I would use. As far as a all-natural organic approach, Humboldt Nutrients is hands down the best. It's non-chelated, and it has a shelf life, so if you don't use it, it will go bad, and you do have to brew this for 24 to 48 hours before it's ready. So, and that's the telltale signs of a true organic nutrient. So if you don't want to try to maintain a food web in your soil, if you have a tendency to let your plants dry out way too much before you water them, then you're probably going to have to stick with a bottled nutrient program. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, just you got to remember that if you're trying to maintain a living biome, I said a minute ago, I'm a soil farmer, and I meant it.
Right.
Because if you're trying to maintain that living biome, you have to keep things pretty consistent, because there are, I don't know, millions of different kinds of bacteria and microbes, protozoa, amoeba, all nematodes, all kinds of stuff in there. And if you let your soil dry out, then those drought tolerant ones will take advantage, and then now maybe you're out of balance a little bit. Or if you're too wet, then you might even go anaerobic, and now you've got anaerobic bacteria building in. That's not good either.
And you can get back in balance though.
Yeah.
But how long do you think it takes to get your soil web built back up before the plants are getting the full benefit of the food web?
It depends on what kind of damage has been done, and it depends on where you were to begin with. But
a few weeks.
It could take a few weeks. I mean, if you make it rain with some good compost tea, you're going to show us a little bit here in a minute.
Yep.
So that's going to make it happen a lot quicker, because
Absolutely.
you're really going to flood the system with the bacteria
Good
you want in it.
And, everything you need. So, and so if you're forgetful and you don't water all the time, or you just want a simple approach to organics, you can get on a good bottled nutrient program, do just fine. They're simple. This you don't even have to pH it, because it's organic. It's all natural. It's non-chelated. So it pretty much, it's in that window. When you mix it and you brew it, you don't worry about the pH, just like the water, because it's a microbial life in there. So you can adjust the pH with some natural pH adjusters, but you really don't need to. So, but I want to move on to something a little more exciting to me, because I started out in organics using bottled nutrients, but it didn't take long for me to move on over into living soil. And I grow in what I consider like a performance-driven organics, and my first introduction to true organics was I met with this guy on an old forum back a while back called Skunk School, and he was I didn't know it at the time. I'm chatting with this guy, and he was one of the writers for Skunk Magazine, known as The Rev. And he's this book over here, True Living Organics. I recommend that to every one of my Grow Coach clients. This guy right here, that is the Bible as far as I'm concerned in living organics for container gardening. My program is based off of his philosophy, and that's the one book I recommend over any other. And then this Teaming with Micros here with Jeff Lowenfels. Those guys, they put together a really good read there, and if you want to gain understanding in living soil, those two books will get you further than any others that I believe.
Yep, I like how Lowenfels too. He doesn't go so far. It's not like a college textbook.
Right.
It's kind of conversational, a little humor in there.
Sure.
He makes it real approachable. I appreciate that.
Right, but yeah, I love living soil, because to me, I've just experienced a higher terpene profile and a better overall, smoother smoke if you like to smoke it. And to me, the squish off of it's a lot better too.
Yep.
But that's just my opinion, but that's what we're here to talk about.
Sure.
So.
Well, and I think it goes beyond just your opinion. I mean, there have been studies that have been done
And it's actually the aquaponics folks who will tell you all about it, because in aquaponics you're actually using live fish waste, that sort of thing, cycling it in. And the big boon for aquaponics is that you've got this different layer. You've got your normal soil layers, and then at the bottom you've got a more aquatic layer that stays much moister. A lot of oxygenated water moves through it, and the deal is that between the two of them, the plant is exposed to a much broader spectrum of microbes, microbial life, and because of all that exposure, it really brings out any kind of terpene, because terpenes are really just a way to defend itself against the environment.
Absolutely.
It's an adaptation to the environment. So they found in aquaponics that you get a lot more terpenes, or more terpenes anyway, than other forms. So it stands to reason that living soil, with its enhanced biome, biological activities, could well get more than straight hydroponics. But not to say that straight hydroponics doesn't have microbes. That's a fallacy. You clean all your hydroponic gear, you throw some nutrients in there, you let it run, come back 24 hours, you're coated with microbes, bacteria. I mean, they're everywhere.
There's plenty of additives that carry those things.
Sure, because they found it's beneficial.
Absolutely, yeah. And so get those books if you really want to educate yourself on living organics, and you can get the books here at Happy Rock Farms, or you can order them online, I'm sure. But you should get them here at Happy Rock Farms.
That's right.
We have them in stock, and you can have them today.
You're giving away some stuff tonight,
I'm
aren't
giving
you?
away a few things, but
well,
it's dirt.
ought to remind some people.
Yeah,
it's just dirt.
It's just dirt.
It's just dirt. Don't worry about it.
Dirt.
I'll
We do
take
it in
it
the
home.
dirt. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I
Now
do
I'm going
it.
to give away a grow. I want somebody to be able to have what they need to do a grow. So I'm giving away 6 5-gallon bags and 3 bags of the dank.
Nice.
5-gallon fabric pots.
Nice. Package deal?
Yeah. And,
I'll get set up. How do they get it?
The 5 gallons. Hold on a second.
Okay,
Calm
I'm
down
getting
there,
excited.
Chief.
Rally towel, rally towel. Oh, sorry.
Fan yourself.
Sorry.
The dank's basically 10 gallons in a bag, 1.5 cubic feet. So one bag will fill up 2 fabric grow pots, and then some dank dust. So you can amend if you got a real hungry plant. But the key to the dank dust isn't so much amending it all the way through. If you have a real hungry plant and you're growing a small container and a big plant, you might have to amend it in early bloom. But the dank dust is more to amend it after the grow.
Between cycles.
Between cycles.
Gotcha.
And then use it again. And
Gotcha.
you can the dank dust is, or the dank soil is designed to be used over and over and over.
Awesome.
So it shouldn't have to replace it for a good while. And a lot of with my soil, what I'll do is I'll just I'll take out about 1/3 of the soil mix after I've used it 5 or 6 times, and then I'll add some compost and a little bit of cocoa coir back and some pumice and stuff like that to just kind of refresh it a little bit, along with whatever amendments I go back with. So
that's perfect.
So that's what we're giving away. Tag a friend.
Tag them.
Tag them in on this the news feed there, and if they're chosen, then they'll get some dank.
That's right.
Soil. Some dank soil. Yeah. They'll have to grow their dank, and if it don't stank, it ain't dank. But that soil will make it stank.
That's right.
So
we could do this all day.
Yeah, for sure, and especially with what happened during break. Anyway, so I grow what I consider a performance living soil. I grow a living soil in a small container comparatively, depending on how big I grow the plant. In a 5-gallon, I'll grow, most of my plants will be no more than probably 24 to 36 inches tall when they finish. And in a 7-gallon pot, I'll have a 48-inch plant, 4 foot tall, from the top of the fabric pot to the top of the plant. And so what I do is I like to leave my soil a little bit light on the nutrient side so that I can amend it throughout the cycle according to which cultivar I'm growing. So some like Like I've got a plant that is just a phosphorus junkie, so I have to amend it with some phosphorus. I have plants that like higher nitrogen, lower nitrogen. Depending on the cultivar I'm growing, I can go ahead and top dress in some of the dank and kind of custom, and with my teas, I can tailor that particular grow because I've left the soil a little light. You know, and it works really well for me. And if I want to give it a hard boost, and now in the book True Living Organics, he does what you call plugging, which he bores 1/2 inch holes, 4 1/2 inch holes down in the pot on transplant. He doesn't do it when there's already roots in there. He does this on transplant, and then he fills those with a nutrient pack, which like he would take the dank and he would fill those holes, and that way when the roots grew out, they would be climatized to those areas, and they could pull the nutrients as they wanted. And so that's his way of supercharging the soil there. Me, I like to do it through top dressing and teas. So, but if you want to go living soil in a container, you have to make sure you are adamant about watering. You have to water. That's the two number one things people have trouble with. I run into people having trouble with overwatering or underwatering, and either one is just as bad as the other. People are so worried about overwatering that they underwater. If you're growing in living soil, you need to maintain at least a 50% moisture level in your soil, wouldn't you say?
Oh, at least. I mean, so when your pots are drying out too much, your plants are starving.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of mobile nutrients, and they got to have water to do their thing.
Right.
And a lot of these bacteria got to have moisture to do their thing. They'll go dormant if you don't. So you're just wasting time. You're abusing the plants. There's a time and place for it, I think. But if you want to, keep that cycle going and keep feeding your plants, you got to keep that moisture level up. And don't be scared of, mosquitoes and fungus gnats and white flies and all that. We got solutions for that too.
Absolutely. We got a couple right over there.
I saw them.
So,
we're going to get to that in a minute?
Yeah,
you do it now?
We can do it now. That's
okay.
Good enough. We're on, we'll talk about, these are the two go-tos. This is Captain Jack's. This is the killer. It's organic. That's why I use it if I need to. Personally, I haven't had to treat for bugs in, knock on wood, several years. But if I do, Captain Jack's is what I use. And Organicide over here, this guy right here, this is a great preventative. Stinks like hell. If you use it in flour, it will probably leave your buds tasting like fish. Don't ask me how I know.
I won't.
I've never done that lately.
Never.
So anyway, yeah. But these are my two chosen methods if I need to use something like this. Otherwise, I prefer to let my environment take care of the insects. I don't really kill spiders unless they get caught in a glue trap. I let them roam, not spider mites, spiders, because they eat other insects. Ladybugs aren't bad to see in the garden, and then there's little insects that are crawling around in the soil. We had a guy post a video.
Oh, don't let it freak you out. Don't let it freak you out.
And and he saw the bugs in his soil, and rightfully so, was like, what the hell are these? But they ended up being mighty mites, which are a beneficial mite, so.
Good news.
Good news. Good soil. So,
right.
But yeah, those are some, definitely something I would have around in my garden. If you get a spider mite problem, you want to try the Captain, see you later. You'll want to try the Captain here, dead bug. So, yep, good stuff. Let me get a drink. My mouth's dry again.
That's all right.
It just keeps getting drier and drier.
It's not a side effect. Now, I like to use...
those who wonder are not always lost.
So, that might be what you're up to. That's your deal.
It very well could be. So, okay, so I don't want to get this car here. See what happens? You get having too much fun.
That's right.
So, yeah, so It is very possible to grow in living soil in fabric pots. What about mulch? Keeping the soil. What kind of mulch would you recommend for these guys? How important is mulching?
Indoors, less important,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, you want access to the top of the soil. Instead of mulch, I'll probably use a high-quality compost, or just top dress with a bunch of worm castings because you're not going to mess up.
Right.
That'll change the biology on the top of the soil while it's being watered in, so over the course of a few weeks, and that might disrupt whatever else you got going on, so that could be good to kind of disrupt a pest life cycle. Just changes it up on them, but and that's indoors.
Right.
And even in no-till, I know we're going to get to that in a minute, but with no-till, they say put a cover crop on there. But indoors, I mean, those cover crops just end up, to me, turning into either a banker crop or a honey pot to bring bugs in. And while it's cool, you can see them coming. You really got to, that's another thing you have to manage. Right. That's a very advanced thing. And I think you want to approach that with a real good plan if you're going to start to go the cover crop route or even the mulch route, because you put down a dense mulch of ryegrass and you don't know
Right.
what you're going to culture under there. You got to keep an eye on things. So
is there any truth to the rumor that worm castings, a coating of worm castings on top of the soil, will keep fungus gnats down?
I think so. And most, it's kind of like a tea. Like right after you put your teas on, you're probably not going to see fungus gnats for a minute because, the good bacteria is just overwhelming at that point. And one of those flavors of good bacteria actually suppresses, fungus gnats and whiteflies, especially even mosquitoes. And that's Bacillus thuringiensis israelis. It's in worm castings. It's part of the worm's gut biome, which is why I like it. It's in some composts. Especially the fungal-rich compost for whatever reason, or you can buy it as its own separate product. But yeah, I mean,
good stuff.
Yeah, it works. It works,
Right.
and it makes the soil bright. And boy, we may talk about it, but plants will tell you if you look at them. You really only have to look at them out of the corner of your eye after so many years, because they're going to tell you I'm loving it, or
not feeling it.
Not so much, or I'm all
Right.
jacked up. So. But you're looking for the love.
Absolutely. So, yeah, and to do that, we have to keep a happy microbial life.
That's right.
For sure. If let's switch over to no-till. Talk to me about no-till.
So I do no-till.
Right.
I think no-till is best suited for your biggest possible volume of soil. Right? Because with no-till, you're relying on that nutrient cycling. You have to have it because you're not tilling. All you're ever going to do is top dress. So you've really got to be able to water over the top to push the nutrients down and let the microbes get after it. No-till is just what it is. You don't till, which is fine, by the way. If you put earthworms in your mix like I do, they'll eat the old roots from the last cycle. And what better nutrients for the new roots than the old roots getting cycled through earthworm guts, right? So makes perfect sense. Keep the cycle going. You always want to replace your soil as you bring it out of a no-till. Send that out the door into the garden, something like that. Bring in some fresh soil. I look at soil as sort of a river. As it goes through your grow from your seedlings to your immature plants and then into the flowering phase. Once it's done in the flowering phase, I'm going to get rid of part of that soil if, for example, if I have too much soil, some of it that gets gone, it doesn't get reused.
Right.
So that's just my mode. But again, no-till's all about you don't till at all.
And you're using earthworms.
Definitely are using earthworms.
What kind of earthworms do you use?
I use a mix. I like Uncle Jim's. He's got a mix of Europeans and red wigglers. That way because the red wigglers are just going to stay at the top,
right?
Which is good. They'll aerate the whole top. It's just like having vermiculite in there. It's or perlite rather is a better aerator. But at the bottom, once you get over 12 to 14 inches, it can get compacted. And so I really like the European night crawlers that come with it. They like to go down deep. They're going to aerate down there, create tunnels that your roots are going to grow in, leave nutrients behind, so it's a perfect little honey trail. So if you get deeper, if you go aquaponics, there are blackworms and other stuff you can use, but those are the big two, and an outfit like Uncle Jim's will give you a mix. I love it.
Feel free to ask any questions too if you have any questions.
Bring on the questions.
Yeah, bring them on. We're ready for them. So do you do any amendments? I know, I do quite a few amendments in my grows because I'm growing in a container, and like I said, I like to tailor my grow, and I'm all the time adding a top dressing and some worm castings and whatnot, a little bit of compost. So do you amend your no-till at all?
Sure, you bet. I like to do a cold amendment rather than a hot amendment, and what I mean, so if you put the dank dust on top, it still has to do some breaking down up there.
Right.
So the microbes are going to get to, it's going to get a little warm on top. Plants don't mind that as long as the whole soil's not real warm, hot, with all that microbial activity, but I like to pre-cook mine first, and I have a general mix that's basically your regular soil mix, but with like 8 or 10 times the amount of nutrients per square foot. So it's just super hot.
Right.
But I'll cook that for like 5 weeks, right? And what I mean is just let it sit, get some
You
worm
don't mean
castings.
put it in the oven or
No, put it in the oven. That's the opposite of what we want to do. I want to let it go through its thermophilic processes, so it's going to actually kill bad guys. Because it's going to get warm with all the biological activity. Then when it cools down, it's a really super nutritive mix. And then, I might do some customization depending on the variety I'm growing.
Just around the root base?
Just around the root base, or, as an additional top dress, that's fine. But having it pre-cooked like that, I rarely ever see fungus gnats now that I went to that. I would see fungus gnats fairly regular and fight them, several times a year when putting, hot, uncooked nutrients on top, because, well, guess what? Within a week, it's growing fungus. And what do fungus gnats eat?
They want fungus.
Grant's tomb question: who's buried at Grant's tomb? That's Grant. So anyway, just so think about that. That's a strategy you can use. It certainly works, especially like me. I really, really like to water over the top. So. Not necessarily bottom watering all the time, especially early on, right after I put the amendments on top, and that way,
water them on top.
That way you can push those nutrients and goodies down into the soil.
You got to carry them down there. They have to have a vehicle, and water's that vehicle.
Yep,
so
that's right.
So So is there? I think that's a nice segue over into our next subject. But first, question here: what size pot are you growing in with live earthworm?
I'm personally growing in 116 gallons, and I'll do 4 to 6 plants in there, depending on the patient I'm working with and the needs and all that sort of stuff.
Is that a 4x4 bed?
Basically 4x4. It's 48 by 40 inches.
Okay.
That way I can put it down in a 4x4 interior dimension flood tray to act as a big container for the bottom of it.
Drip pan.
Drip pan, that's right. And I do that because, earthworms are hungry critters.
Sure.
And they're going to need a lot of stuff to work with. Think of your soil, especially when your organic living soil, as your battery. Right? Great big batteries, but it's going to shock you real good. Little battery, whatever, lick that thing, it's fine. So use a big bunch of soil, really charge that soil, and let the plants, drain that battery and do their thing.
What do you think about using earthworms in like a 7-gallon or a 10-gallon pot?
Yeah, it's good. So, if you're going to no-till those pots, that's good. The danger with earthworms, to me, is that if you're going to go 5-7 gallons, then you're going to recycle the soil.
Yeah.
When you smoosh up that soil, you got to be careful, man. You're going to kill all them dudes. So, especially the big ones, but there's a lot of small ones that survive. So it can be done, but if you kill a bunch of worms, that creates another source of minerals and nutrients that other things and funguses are going to come try to get.
Right.
And generally, that leads to a bad situation, a lot like drowning your soil. That'll
I
kill
think
your
the
worms
smallest container I'd recommend probably for earthworms would be like a 25-gallon bag. And
Yep.
then, like you say, do the no-till, just cut the root ball out, put the cutting in beside it, and start a new one, or the seedling, whatever you're up potting. So
yeah, easy. I've got a friend who actually, in his big 25-gallon bags, he'll offset the plant. And then the next time around, he'll just offset the next one.
Yep.
By the time he's ready with another cycle, he'll just pop that old stem out, offset it just a little bit.
You go in a square if you
That's
want.
right.
Do
Just
4 corners.
just like a green.
Right.
Let's pot it up.
Yep.
4.
So let me ask you a question about the earthworms. We feed a lot with teas. How do they affect the earthworms?
Oh, it's a party.
Party?
Yeah, it's just like a little shower.
I've had some people ask me,
stuff.
will the teas harm the
If your soil's put together right, you can't hardly drown an earthworm.
Right.
So all your water is going to drown straight out the bottom. Don't let it stand in the dish underneath, right? As long as that water is not standing down there, and even if it is, they're just going to migrate to the top. And if you really drown the crap out of them, they're just going to crawl out.
Yeah.
And peace, I'm out. Don't like
and
this.
dry up on the floor.
That's right. That's right. That's what they do.
You'll walk in and see your little worms laying all over the floor, dead.
Yeah, I'm way more concerned about underwatering with earthworms. That'll dry them up, make them go dormant. They'll get small, slow. They're not going to do the work. I mean, they work 24 hours a day if you keep them moist, but as soon as you let them dry out, peace.
How often do you feed teas?
Depends. So for me, I consider a top dress with worm castings teas, because as soon as you put the water over it, it rinses that stuff right into the soil. So with that in mind, probably every 2 weeks.
Every other week.
But as far as brewing teas, just a couple times a cycle in flour, you know, just to really get it down in there.
Yeah, that's what I do. I make a nice tea when I flip it to 12-12. I give it a nice saturation with a good tea, and then probably every 4 weeks after that, I give it a nice tea.
Yep.
You know, and
Keeps that balance.
It just keeps it balanced out. It keeps all the bacteria happy and growing and doing its thing. But I do brew my teas, you know, so I like to bubble them, get the microbes active, and it just, to me, it makes them, when you brew your tea, it makes everything more readily available immediately when you pour it into the soil. So it's almost a form of a liquid nutrient, like would be in a bottle, but it's not. It's natural, you know, because that's what they're skipping when they do a bottled nutrient. They're skipping the process, and you're feeding the plant, because you're skipping the process of breaking the matter down into usable material for the plant. So they're just feeding the plant. When you're feeding the soil, you know, you're giving it that time that it needs to go through the cycle. But when you make a tea, you kind of supercharge that, so to speak. So when you put the tea in, it's more available already, you know, a lot sooner to the plant. So.
I think of it a lot like, you know, let's say you had a manufacturing plant. That's your soil, because all your workers are your microbes. They're just in there working away. They're converting bigger nutrients to smaller nutrients, talking with the plant. Hey, you want some Chinese tonight? I got you.
Right.
You know, all that sort of stuff. They're taking care of business, outputting those products, food for the plants. Now, when you put your teas on, that's like getting a whole big fresh batch of workers. That's like tripling your workforce. You triple your workforce, what's going to happen? You're going to make more products. You're going to make more plant food. And it's going to happen quick, too, because you got a whole lot of workers. So that's for me. That's why I say I farm the soil, because, you know, I've got a lot of factory workers down there, earthworms and all the in-betweens. And if I make that soil successful, then the plant can't even help it.
Absolutely. It's got to do what it's got to do, right?
That's right.
So when you use a tea, when you make a tea, do you have any preference as far as like using RO water or anything like that?
No, admittedly, I use a lot of tap water.
Okay.
My tap water is somewhat hard as well. They've done some studies. I know I'm giving up a little bit of my workforce when I use the tap water. It's probably a little better with RO, but then again, you could make arguments about the calcium and magnesium that's in tap water that you're cutting out. Then I'd have to add those products back, perhaps. Anyway, so I found a happy medium, and those studies suggest that, you know, you're going to hurt your biology initially with those initial chloramines, chlorines, nitrates, all that stuff that hits it, fluoride, blah, blah, blah. But pretty quick that's neutralized, and then they go off and they start doing their thing.
Sure.
Best case scenario, use RO, in my opinion, but you can definitely get by using just tap water.
Now, if you don't have an RO unit, and you want to get close to RO water, but you're using a lot of water and you don't, I just want to say that, you know, I just want to show this off. This here, you can get this at Home Depot, and you go to the water garden section, and this breaks the bonds between the chlorine and the ammonia, so that the water can be evaporated and be used again. for fish ponds and stuff, but it also makes it breaks the toxic heavy metals down, and it also makes it more hospitable for your microbial life when you're brewing a tea. So if you don't have an RO unit, you can use this, and it works amazing. I've been using it for a long time. It's got tea tree extract, it's got yucca extract, and then so it's definitely beneficial to your tea if you want to use that if you don't have a RO system. So
yeah, and you know what? The just a Brita filter is surprisingly effective at eliminating some of that stuff,
sediments and stuff. Yeah, absolutely,
and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, if you let it sit, then that's going to get rid of some of your chlorine. Chloramines aren't going to go away. No. Nitrates aren't going to go away.
You have to break that bond between the chlorine and the
But
ammonia.
aerating, like you do with compost tea, that helps.
Yes, it does.
The water quality.
Right. Mm-hmm. For sure. Question, how late into flowering would you use a tea? Well, we're talking about organic growing. I have several different tea recipes, and one of them is a finishing tea. I wouldn't hesitate to use a tea all the way through to the end, because again, when you're in organics, you have to realize that you are feeding the soil, not the plant, and the plant's going to use what the plant needs to use at the time that the plant needs to use it. So you're able to feed all the way through. There's no flush in organic soil. It's pointless to flush. If you do, you're just harming your food web, you're killing the microbial life, and you're not doing your plants any favor. You don't flush in organics. So you can use a tea all the way through to the end, and just change it up to fit the growth period that you're in. And you know, I like to do it in 2-week increments if I'm going to separate the growth out for something like that. You know, I look at it as every 2 weeks we go through a new cycle. So I would feed twice in veg probably, and that one time being right before I flip to bloom, and then again 4 weeks into bloom. And then I would feed again a tea at 8 weeks. Most of my varieties go 10 weeks, maybe 12. So I'm going to feed again at 8 weeks, and then I'll just water all the way through from there. So, okay, another question. What week would you use your first tea, Eric?
Week 0. My first tea is usually a barley tea, crushed barley tea. I'll put that together. It's got a lot of good enzymes in it, suppress funguses. So whenever you're throwing down your beans like magic melons, I put them in. And I put my barley tea on it. It's got enzymes that'll suppress your fusarium and your other nasty funguses to keep it off that baby plant, so it doesn't get your stem rot and that sort of thing. So right away. I don't think you can use it too early or too late.
You just have to make the right tea. Just make sure that the tea that you use on a seedling is a very mild tea, and when I do tea on a seedling, it's pretty much my personal tea will be more of a microbial tea rather than nutrients. And I don't really start giving teas until the seed is up and has at least its first 3 leaf on it. But you know, that's just me. Usually my soil, you know, has a good amount. What you need. You know,
so. And I think you're on. That's a good distinction. You've got microbial teas, you've got nutritive teas, and then you've got hybrids. You can combine them, right?
And most of my teas are hybrids, except for early veg and
and for the young, the barley tea, that's a microbial, and it's really an enzyme tea. And when we're talking about that, we're really talking about mostly like worm castings or good quality compost. Those are all going to have, especially when you open the bag, it shouldn't stink, shouldn't smell, but it should be just a little bit moist, because that means they're still alive. If it's completely dried out, that's a no-go. If it stinks, it's probably been too wet. It's probably got some anaerobic going on, so smell it, don't be afraid. And so, but whenever you put those products on there, make a tea out of them, you're just taking the microbes. The tea process is, you know, with molasses or whatever you add to it, that's really food for the microbes.
Right.
And within 24 hours, you've went from 1 billion microbes to 100 billion or something.
Sure.
I mean, it's ridiculous, the numbers.
Well, I'll say that I'm going to do a little demonstration, not really a demonstration. I'm just going to kind of show you how easy it is to make a small tea brewer to use at home, and kind of talk about some of the things you put in them here in a minute, and show you how easy it is to make the tea. And then I've got several tea recipes. If you want to just shoot me a message or email me at kcgrowcoach@gmail.com, and I'll give you the tea recipes that that will get you through the entire grow. Do I recommend a drip irrigation system?
No, it says dip. That's
dip.
for you.
A dip irrigation system.
No, I think it's drip or maybe sip. Sip, a sub-irrigated planter.
Tip.
Tip. Just the tip?
I don't know. Just the
Okay.
tip, I promise.
Well,
I think it's a drip irrigation system, and spell check forgot the R. So drip irrigation. I don't mind drip irrigations if you have them timed right and you know your medium. They're usually used for cocoa or some sort of hydroponic grow. I personally like to hand water all my plants because each plant is going to use water at a different rate, and so I'll go in and I'll actually, on every single plant every day, I will check the moisture level and see where it's at, and I'll hand water. I don't recommend a drip irrigation unless you're in something like cocoa coir or something that you know is going to need to have a solid flow of nutrients or moisture all the time, because things can go wrong with drip irrigation systems and cause a lot of trouble. So if it's a convenience issue and you're going to be gone for several days and you need to use a drip irrigation system to manage your grow while you're on vacation or away on business, get one set up, get a good timer. Don't skimp on the timer and the pump. Get your proper equipment and get good equipment. So other than that, no, stick with the hand watering. I mean, get in there and be involved with your plant. Know what's going on with it. They're like a kid, Yep. Each plant is different, and even though they're the same variety, one plant might feel like drinking a lot today and the other plant might not drink a lot today. So
that's right.
You just kind of have to go on that method.
Yep. Yeah,
so,
I think it can be dangerous, right? It's somewhat like hydroponics. You've got automated systems that help you with your ebb and flow or your irrigated drip or that sort of thing. Drip irrigation introduces those same potential problems, right? So if you've got your drip too high, it's going to be too wet.
Right.
If you've got your drip too low, eventually they're going to dry out, right? So dialing it in is the most important part. Like you said, whenever they're young, they're going to take less water. Right before they finish flowering, they're going to take the most water. They've got huge root systems. So watch it. Use that purpose. You got to have a purpose, and really endeavor, if you're going to use it, dial it in.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I guess the recommendation would be situational then.
Situational.
So
know what you're getting into.
Absolutely. So with that, I want to go ahead and segue on over into looking at this little tea setup. And you're welcome to come with me or just hang here. So
no, I'm gonna. We're gonna make a move. We're gonna make a move.
I don't want to break the cord there. We're good.
Take it away, Big V.
Okay, so here we go. I feel like I'm preaching. So basically, when we make a tea, we want to get all kinds of microbials and natural amendments and turn it to liquid. A lot of things. I have a recipe that. Where's my phone? Here we go. Let me get this recipe out here. So. Sorry, I got in trouble for having my phone out earlier, so I put it away. because I got yelled at. Okay, here we go. That's not true. I didn't get yelled at. James is a nice guy.
Here in probably this time next year, we're going to be able to afford a whole studio. Like, people are going to have all kinds of mics and stuff. But thank you guys for tuning in so far until now. So take it away.
Okay, here we are. Thank you for filling in for me there, Clay. So my vegetative high-performance tea here is this is a growth tea. This is the recipe. Unfortunately, I don't have all these memorized because I have a few of them. So we're going to use, of course, molasses, and you want to have it unsulfured. I like Mendocino honey. It's good stuff. Or you can just get your regular plantation unsulfured blackstrap molasses. And I don't have everything up here because I didn't have it bagged up. The kelp meal. I don't know if I have kelp meal up here, but I don't. Alfalfa meal, all-purpose dry fertilizer, whatever you like to use. I recommend the Dank, of course. I make it, I know what's in it, and I know it's all good stuff. Then we're going to use the liquid fish fertilizer. This Maxi Crop is good stuff. There's also other, Alaskan is a good fish fertilizer you can use. We're going to use high nitrogen bat guano, or bird guano if it's high nitrogen. The soluble kelp, again, the Maxi Crop stuff is good stuff. And then we're going to use some earthworm castings. Good stuff right here. All kinds of good stuff in there, and then some good quality compost. And basically, you're going to take all that and put it inside a tea bag, which you can get here, and we didn't have anywhere out of stock. We've been having trouble getting stuff from California since it's burning down. So we don't have any in stock right now, so I couldn't show you one. You can also use a paint sock. You can go to Home Depot or Sherwin-Williams, and you can ask them for a 5-gallon paint sock, and you're going to put all this in that paint sock, and you're going to hang it over the edge of this bubbler. And you can see this bubbler. I just have a little 5-gallon bucket here, and come on up here and look at that. A little air pump. You don't need a whole lot. A little air stone like this will keep the air moving. And then I've got a pump here, and I've just rigged up from here over just so this would circulate and pump back down into the bucket and keep the tea churned and keep it mixed up and keep it moving so that it does its thing down there. And this is what I used here, the air pump and the water pump there and the little air stone. So, and you can see it's not that hard. And so what you would do is, with the recipe that you can get from me, I give you a 1-gallon recipe, and you're going to brew a gallon of tea. And there's 2 stages to this. So the first stage, you're going to put all the powdered stuff and amendments in it, and then you're going to brew it for 24 hours. Then you're going to come back and you're going to put the worm castings and the compost in it, brew it for another 24 hours, and you'll put these in, especially these, in another paint sock, and just hang them over the edge and let them sit and bubble. So 48 total hours, and then you take the tea that's in here and you use RO water. I'm going to suggest RO water, and you add, basically you do a 1-to-1 ratio, and you dilute the tea that is brewed, the gallon of tea that's brewed, with another gallon of fresh RO water. So that's going to give you a good solid microbial tea, and you're going to feed basically 1 quart of water. Wait a minute. No, not 1 quart. A pint of water per gallon of soil, or a cup of water per gallon of soil. So if you got a 3-gallon pot, you're going to put 3 cups of tea in it. My bad. So if you've got a 5-gallon pot, you're going to put 5 cups of tea in it, and so forth and so on. So that's how easy it is to make tea. And you really don't need a lot. I think this whole setup here costs maybe $30. The most expensive thing would be the pump, and so you can brew your own tea and have the your top quality organic bud that you need. This is how you feed. It's how I do it. Of course, I have a much bigger setup, and I brew quite a bit at one time, but this is what I do. And so just shoot me a message and I'd be glad to give you the recipes. I'm going to post them on my group. If you go to KC Grow Coach, the Facebook page, you can find a link to my group, Doing It in the Dirt, there, and you'll find my tea recipes, other top dressing recipes. There's just all kinds of good stuff on there. So that's all I have for you. I don't know where we go from here. But it's been awesome. I love it. Happy growing. Stay lifted.
How about a nice warm round of applause for Big V here. It's amazing to see all these local growers come together and with people that have all this great advice and that may have allegedly experienced things before you have and have the opportunity. No, I wouldn't say that allegedly.
In another state.
Another
time.
wherever it was, in another life, whatever the case may be. The fact is there's the people that are coming together like Big V here, and like the other guys that were here tonight that are in the Canna Grow competition, that are wanting to help you grow at home. So don't be scared. We talked to Russell earlier. It was a great interview with him, talking about how it was his first experience, and he was just completely open and honest about it. And that's beautiful for people to be able to do that. And if we can get past the stigma, past the personal anxiety that you're gonna, your plants are gonna die because there's so much involved with the emotional aspect of growing, being a first-time grower. There's people out here like Big V that can help make you relax through that process, give you positive re-encouragement, give you advice. So thanks, Big V, for coming on tonight, for doing this. Thanks to our contestants here that are part of the Happy Rock Farms crew.
Team Happy Rock.
Team Happy Rock. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Hoosiers have next week with Bo Bradley.
The Hoosiers?
The Hoosiers. So the Hoosiers sophisticated. That's our St. Louis.
Are they growing?
They are.
They're in St. Louis, right?
That's our St. Louis partners and affiliates.
We love those guys.
And they're great guys. And we ultimately we all hope that Missouri, the award comes to somewhere in Missouri.
Yes.
But when it comes down to Missouri, it's nice to have some nice loving back and forth between. So we hope that we get to meet the St. Louis crew. We hope we get a little smack talking from them, and hopefully over the next few months we can have a jokingly back and forth. I'm better than you, you're better than me. We'll all meet up and have a good party in the end.
All in the love, brother. All in love.
Yeah.
Nate did bring the
title to Missouri earlier this year. Yes, so Nate brought the Cannabinator title, the last home grow, brought it back to Missouri. So Missouri is the hot spot. It's going to be the future. You got the hemp industry, you got the medicinal cannabis industry, you got OGs like you got all these other guys that are OGs, all coming together, trying to help new people who do not know how to grow. And
cannabis grows better in dirt than it does rocks.
It does.
I'll just say that, Colorado.
It does.
Anyway,
yes.
We're all farmers here, baby.
So
did I go too far?
So hopefully they'll see all this video later on, and we'll have some healthy responses from them. But thank you guys. Most importantly, our audience that's watching tonight. Thank you so much for staying tuned the whole time. Please share this video. There's still time to tag a friend to enter the competition for all the sweet giveaways tonight. If you share the video, we'll also include you in the competition for that as well. Next week, it'll be in St. Louis, the Hoosiers, and Bo knows everything hydro. Bo knows lots of cool stuff. We love those guys, but we know that Kansas City's going to win. But we still love the St. Louis guys. So one more loving.
They do have the arch.
They do have the arch. I love the arch. Yeah, if only you can medicate on the arch. Yeah, that'd be nice. But anyway, one more time, I want to give a thanks to our camera woman, fantastic person that's holding the camera this entire time. I don't even know how she's doing it. I couldn't. And then James behind the ones and twos on all the video editing. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next Thursday as the Hoosiers take over the show. Yeah.